Beyond the Hood, stories and strategies to fuel dealer growth.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Hood with Tractor Zoom. I'm your host, Andy Campbell, and today we're talking about warranties and what value does a warranty bring to the resale value of your used equipment. To help us answer this question, we have Jacob Bryce from Machinery Scope joining us on the podcast today. I actually had a chance to sit down with Jake at Dealership Mind Summit in Iowa City this past July, and we did a pre-recording of this analysis and our discussion. Beyond just talking about the resale value of machinery, we focused on row crop tractors at auction and on dealership lots. We also dive into, does it actually help you sell equipment faster when it has a remaining warranty on there? And what other types of value does a warranty bring, not just to the farmer, but also to the dealer that has the equipment sitting on their lot? So let's jump into that conversation right now with Jacob Bryce from Machinery Scope.
Welcome, everyone, to a mashup of sorts. We have a little bit of Beyond the Hood podcast and also a webinar and a mashup too, because I'm joined here by Jake Bryce from Machinery Scope. So Jake, let's start with you introducing a little bit of who you are and what Machinery Scope does.
Perfect. Yeah. Jacob Bryce, grew up on a family farm in central Minnesota. Fell in love with the equipment business. Fortunate to start out my career working with Titan Machinery for a few years, and then worked with some friends managing locations, and then eventually used equipment manager for Midwest Machinery. Did that through 2021. But we also founded our company Machinery Scope to offer some extended warranty solutions to the marketplace, where we felt there was a need to protect more equipment than what was traditionally available.
And how long has Machinery Scope been around?
Yeah, so we actually founded the company in 2013.
Okay.
Burnt the midnight oil
Yep.
a lot, but also my brother and a couple others helped in those early years drive the business. They were working with dealers. Obviously on the back end, we were continuing to work and developing the right solutions for the marketplace. But yeah, those guys were out front working with dealers, and then eventually with my family, young kids and whatever, decided that I needed to just focus on the Machinery Scope business. So here we are.
Good. And well, one of the reasons why, when you and I were talking, why I thought this was, such a great idea is not just because it's a mashup of different ways we're going to show this, but it's a mashup of warranty and equipment values. But also, it's your perspective kind of mirrors a lot of what we do at Tractor Zoom too, where you're attached to the farm, but also you're providing services to the dealers and the farmers as well. And so you get to see it from the boots on the ground all the way up to the machines essentially rolling off the lot.
That's right. I think we can relate to all parties, and we do. When we're building out our solutions, we're trying to develop the right programs for everybody. It's got to work for everybody. And that's a challenge sometimes, but I think our perspective and our desire to get it right helps us push through that.
Good. And the working for everybody is probably a good segue, because I want to jump right into a little bit of what we're talking about today. We're going to try to keep this conversation brief and really meat heavy to the point with a little bit of the analysis we have. But when you say working for everybody, I sent out an email to a handful of our dealers from the Northeast, Southeast, one from Colorado, and just said, hey, from a warranty standpoint, do you place value on used equipment that has warranty? And what value does a warranty actually bring to the used equipment market? And one quote, and I'm going to paraphrase this in particular, that I got from a good friend in the Southeast, was he's like, he will add 2 years of an extended warranty on a lot of the equipment, not only because it helps him sell the equipment, but it also helps him manage the equipment that comes back in, knowing that it might have a warranty on it. And so that just helps him through his sales process and helps him manage his used equipment a little bit easier.
Absolutely, for sure. It's a big time tool. Some dealers leverage it really well. Others are, whether it's from a bad experience or whatever, not so comfortable with it. But I think there's a lot of different tools in the marketplace, and this is one tool to leverage. and I think it can be an incredibly powerful tool.
Good. So I've diced up a ton of our Tractor Zoom data, and really Jake said, he doesn't want to be a part of the data analysis, I think, because he wanted me to do all the work. But
that's right.
he also said,
I'm not smart enough either.
I think you are, but you also said you wanted to be surprised. And you just said you have an idea of what you've seen in the market, but also you wanted a raw take on what I've found. And so this is a little bit of an unveiling here.
Right. And that's how we are. I mean, we're authentic and genuine, and we want it to be what it is. And so I've had my beliefs on what it can do from my experience managing used equipment at the dealership, and then obviously also on our farm, knowing the challenging times that we're in. Probably looking at, especially now, might be $100 an acre for losses. And so it is what it is. We're going to weather the storm, but we don't want a $40,000 or $50,000 failure on top of that. Mm-hmm. And so anything that we can do to kind of protect ourselves, and knowing what I know, it is a fairly efficient risk transfer model. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's really important for everybody, for dealers, for equipment owners. So absolutely.
Good. Well, I'm going to geek out here, and I'm going to pull up a couple of graphs, show you what I came up with, and I'll narrate a little bit of how I diced up this data and what I found. So I just looked at row crop tractor data right now to try to reduce some of the variables, 300 to 425 horsepower data. And I started to graph this. No big surprise that right away, and we should hopefully flash some scatter plot and some graphs here up above our heads magically. But the stuff with warranty was priced higher. What I found when I took 2018 to current data through 2025 of auction, I was seeing at essentially a 0 hour tractor, it was about 25% worth, valued 25% more at auction. Now, a little bit of that is skewed because a lot more of the really low hour stuff still had a lot more remaining warranty on it. And so later in this analysis, I'll dice up, and we talked about it last night too, of your 0 to 2,000 hours or 2,000 to 6,000 hours might behave differently in how that warranty is valued on there. But you'll be able to see here, obviously the warranty does have value. It's over time it diminishes, or it narrows out to be the same as that without a warranty. But that's also because warranties over time, they're only for an extended period of time, right? What's a typical warranty life?
So under our program, it's 15 years, 5,500 hours. Under some of the other programs, it's like 10-year-old equipment. So again, it's going to depend a little bit where we're at too in the country. In the Midwest, we're averaging about 300 hours per year. I think.
Right. That's what I see.
And so a 10-year-old tractor that has 3,000 hours would be normal in the upper Midwest. In the South, that might be the case after 2 years.
Right.
So there's definitely some variances, but absolutely. I'm really interested to see what you have, especially in that 5 to 10-year-old type of equipment where it's definitely out of base. Mm-hmm. And now we're specifically looking at the value of extended warranty coverage.
Okay. Well, if you stay where you are, I'm going to scoot myself up closer to the camera here because you all want to see me close up here. And I'm going to first talk about an issue that I ran into dicing the data. And so if anybody out there does this and looks at their own data, one quick error I ran into was I looked specifically at a make model, which helps control for the variables, I thought was good. And the data was messy all over the place. But what I realized was I was taking auction data from 2018 to 2025, just here for the John Deere 8R340s, and it was making no sense. But what I then realized is I have 2022 data in there with 25 data with 2018 data. And so that ebbs and flows. The market was essentially messing up any kind of pattern that I would see with warranty, without warranty. Yeah. And so if anybody's out there dicing data, again, as much as you can tighten that time frame so you don't have those market shifts. So a lot of stuff that I'm looking at from this point on is 24, 25 data. Just to stay current. And then, the market it's not exactly flat in 24 and 25, but it's been fairly consistent. And so I just wanted to show a couple of learnings that I had. And moving on then, but still staying within the auction, I went through the whole John Deere 8R series, at least the 310s, the 310, 340, 370, and 410. And then I also went with the Case IH Magnum, the 310, 340, 380, 400. Now, some of those data points just in 24 and 25, there just weren't enough data points in there to definitively say, this one's worth more or less. So I'm going to hit on a couple that had a high enough N, so statistically I can say, like, I see a pattern here. And one of the big ones I want to pull out is the, let's start with the Deere model here of a 370. So, Jacob, you'll have to squint a little bit to kind of see what I'm showing here, and then everybody hopefully will flash it above the screen. But the blue dots are your with warranty, orange are without. You see a lot more, blue dots with warranty. This is at auction in the low hour category, 0 to 1,000. That's kind of what you'd expect, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. They still have it on there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And with the data, we didn't dice up how much remaining is on there, just knowing that over time you're going to have less and less. But a couple things that I want to point out, and I did see this consistently, that the auction price without warranty is a little tighter. Like, people know how to define that price a little bit easier than if it has a warranty. It's bringing a higher dollar value, but it's not. The variance is wider, so it seems like people don't quite know exactly what that warranty is worth. They just know it's worth more.
Yeah, or to your point, too, it might be 6 months of warranty remaining versus 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so there's a ton of difference in that value as well. But yes, I agree that it's we don't always price that in exactly right. And in other options, of course, it takes 2 bidders to get to that end price. So not surprised by anything so far.
Okay, good. Now, one of the things that we're seeing is, the sticking with the 8R 370, that, again, add a point of 0 hours. It was showing about a $25,000 premium up there. Somewhere you're probably looking at about a 5% premium. It seemed to diminish, at least for these warranties, somewhere around 2,000 hours. Now, granted, these 8R 370s aren't that old, so they haven't accumulated that many hours yet. But let's go with this 5% premium that we're seeing on this. Is that typically what you would expect?
Yeah. Under the analysis that we've done on, again, kind of that 5 to 10-year-old row crop tractor, it's 5 to 6% just on auction.
Okay.
Auction results. And I think in using a similar time frame that you did. So I think that's massively powerful, knowing that, because, you might be able to add warranty to that tractor for only, 1 to 2% of that price.
Right.
At least some level of coverage. And so, yes, I think that's huge.
Is it, and this is just my naivete, if I'm selling a tractor, if I'm not a dealer, if I'm a farmer selling a tractor, can I add a warranty, and how easily is that warranty then transferred to the new owner?
Yeah, I think easily transferable under any program. Of course, I believe ours is the best, but John Deere's is transferable, and there's a couple other program providers out there too. I believe they're all transferable, but yes, definitely transferable.
Yep.
Usually it wouldn't get registered until the new buyer comes along.
Okay. Yep.
So unless I've gone back to, I guess it's a private party example. So yeah, they could go to the dealership and get some coverage added. The other thing that I always say is at least making it available is a powerful tool.
Right.
You don't always have to have it on it.
Mm-hmm.
Make it available. Though.
Right. So it would be kind of synonymous with recon. And so you might not do the recon when it first comes into the shop from a dealer's perspective, but it is a tool to help move that then, if it's valued enough, then you can recondition, then you can add a warranty if it helps to sell.
Absolutely. Because you're expanding your pool and still able to be a little nimble. If you've already spent the money on the recon, you can't get it back.
Right.
But if you've got it budgeted and you've got it so it's presentable and you have the knowledge of here's what we did the inspection and here's what we found, so that you're prepared to answer those things, and maybe working the art of the deal, I guess.
Right.
And same is true with warranty. If you've done that inspection, then we should know that it should qualify for the coverage, and now we have our coverage options available. Especially in this marketplace, if somebody is looking to add a piece or whatever, I mean, we should have everything ready to go so that we can be making deals.
Yeah, and one thing that we've seen in our analysis, working with dealers more on our Anvil, our dealer, and the sales enablement tool, speed of sale makes a big difference. And so, like you said, having that stuff ready to go, it just helps grease the skids, especially when that emotional buyer is there, ready to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, even to the point of having some options, if you're not putting the warranty on up front, knowing what a couple options might cost. 1 year, 250-hour powertrain plan. The dealers that are doing that seem to be successful with that, and it's helping them make those deals.
Okay.
And if you're buying that tractor and you go and you're talking to that person, they have all their ducks in a row. Here's the history on the tractor. Here's the inspection that we did. Here's what's already done. Here's what we could do or might do. Here's warranty or whatever. You're just kind of like you're removing all of those objections.
Right. Yeah. That confidence just helps speed up the process.
That's right. Yeah.
Nice. Well, since we are talking then on the dealer side, let's shift gears a little bit on the data aspect. So as well as auction results, and we can always have some follow-up posts because I did a ton of analysis on these auction results, but I want to give time to talk about how do dealers put value on this, and switching graphs here because I love graphs. It's a little different look. So the first thing that I did when I pulled this up is within Tractor Zoom Pro, we have dealer listings, but we have dealer listings that have not sold yet, and then ones that have been removed from sites that have been sold. And so I was curious when I pulled this up because I now had, does it have auction or does it have warranty? Does it not? Has it been sold? Has it not? And I also know when things went up on the site. So days advertised, not necessarily days on lot, but still a good proxy of, is something lasting longer? Is it selling faster? If it has a warranty, if it doesn't. And so knowing that there's value within warranty that I could see from auction, I'm like, it's probably going to say it's moving faster. And so I did give you a heads up on this over drinks last night that I did pulled this up and did a little statistical analysis, chi-squared, if you're interested in the statistical mumbo jumbo. But it says, no, it does indicate that it moves faster if it has a warranty. But in terms of if you want to nerd out on this, like a 95% confidence level that it definitively doesn't move faster, it didn't. It just indicates that it likely will. And I was diving into this, like, that doesn't make a lot of sense until I realized, pulling up what I'm going to show here next, it's priced higher. Yeah. So now we'll get into if it's priced appropriately higher. But that also makes sense that the warranty, is being accounted for. And so it's priced higher. So then it's not necessarily going to move faster because it's not the screaming hot deal that's, given away for free. Yeah. But it does help indicate that it's certainly not moving slower, and it probably helps it move faster, just not up that way.
100%. I mean, a dealer managing their used inventory, trying to focus on return on assets. And so that's your turn and margin. And so together, so if we have a slight uptick on one or both of them, it's massively powerful, really important. So that's what I would expect, I guess.
Yeah. And that after, and what I'll show here next time, I'm going to scroll down and then we'll do the magic screen up above here in a second, it is priced higher above dealer lots. And then, so that's when it started to make sense to me a little bit. But I don't want to forget about this. And so I'm going to put this on you to remind me about a warranty being a tool to help sell things faster, especially aged inventory. Because that, inventory as a whole right now, we're in the summer of 2025. Overall inventory is plateaued or coming down for certain categories. Aged inventory, though sitting on a lot for over a year, is increasing and at an alarming rate for some different categories. And my question will be like, is this a tool to help move? But before we get there, again, don't forget about it. So I'm looking at here, and I've got two different scatter plot graphs. I had to separate these just because with dealer listings, there's just so much more volume. It was just a blob and a mess. But with warranty, and then we'll show here without warranty in a second. But this is what I expect from essentially a natural depreciation curve. Something that's decreasing almost at an exponential rate or a logarithmic rate. There's a lot more variance within dealer price listings, probably because dealers have different pricing strategies. And also as you get really low houred, you can have a lot of different variables that are at play. And you're not out there fair market value with two bidders that are just whittling down that price just to maybe at $50 increments or whatever else like that. So we're seeing some variance here, but to break this down with an R squared here with a warranty is 0.55 roughly. And so what that means is that price of these tractors right here, 55% of that price is dictated by the hours of these with warranty. Now I'm going to scroll down here on our screen and then show it here. This one is without a warranty. Okay, so a lot more, obviously. I saw probably about 70% of the dealer listings had a warranty attached to them. 70% did not have a warranty attached to them. 30% did, roughly. So I'll hit on whether or not that's what you'd expect. But the big thing I want to hit on here is this R squared value without a warranty at 0.8 versus the 0.55 I just showed you. So this means that without a warranty, that pricing of that tractor is tighter. Like it follows that line a lot more smoothly, a lot more predictably, where 80% of the value of these tractors is defined by the hour. You can tell by how much usage it has, how much it's worth. So what this tells me, from this part, is dealers know the warranty's worth more, but exactly how much more, there's probably a little bit more guesswork in it. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Again, I think it probably depends some on what would be remaining for warranty.
Okay.
But it's interesting. But yeah, I think you're right. We probably don't know because the day that you trade it, put it on the lot, and the value of that versus if it takes 6 months to move it, we just lost that value or some of that value.
Yep.
And so I think there's probably a couple factors there. I'm impressed seeing that the warranty is being factored to some degree, because I think it is tricky. If you have an 8R with a power shift versus an IBT, for example,
yep.
It's a little easier to say, well, it's this if it's power shift, it's this if it's IBT. But when you have to add factors like, well, what warranty is it, how much time is left, and that sort of thing, it probably is harder to value that.
It is, yeah. A categorical variable, yes, no, is, and I know from just dicing up data, it's a lot easier to put it in a category and then define it statistically and say it's worth roughly this much more, this percentage more. Yeah. As soon as you have a continuous variable of so many hours left on a warranty and you have a shifting market that's going along with it, like that becomes a challenge, and it's a lot tougher.
Yeah, and I'm shifting gears a little bit here, but one thing that I'm proud of is if you look at that, where that depreciation curve is, that cost of ownership probably slows down a little bit once we get to, from maybe a 3,000 to 4,000 hour window or whatever. And people are surprised sometimes to know that they can still get some warranty coverage on that. So for an equipment owner, that being able to maybe move up from a 15-year-old tractor to a 5 to 10-year-old tractor or 3,000 hours or whatever, make that jump while putting some coverage in place, they can be reasonably confident of their cost of ownership kind of being locked in as much as possible. And on this curve, I'm like, I want to own the tractor for that much per hour versus up here.
Exactly.
So when you can combine that with warranty, I think that's a massive way a massive and powerful way for dealers, dealers too, but equipment owners to get the most out of their investments.
Right. And I know from our farm standpoint that, I'm not that mechanically inclined, but I want to own it during that flat part of the depreciation curve.
Right.
It fits our low cost operation well. But because I'm not mechanically inclined, I'm like, it'd be sure helpful if somebody else were to fix it if something were to go wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we ran in 2013. The fleet was pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't do as much updating on our farm, in part because there was a little transition from my parents to the rest of us. My brother-in-law oversees the day-to-day operations or whatever, but just throughout that transition, we didn't invest in as much upgrading as a lot of people did in 2022 or 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have this fleet that's 10 plus years old, that's been well kept. We know it, we've owned it, but I also know shit still happens.
Right. It's gonna wear.
So it's nice. We put, I wouldn't want to sell anything that we ourselves didn't believe in enough to put on our own units on the farm. And so you're exactly right. We do that. If, God forbid, something happens, you can bring it to the dealership and get that repair made without a bunch out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. Well, one other thing I want to hit on here before we shift off of these two graphs, and again, a lot of data points here, so we're looking at across all different makes, models with this, but still within the 24, 25 year time frame to keep that consistent.
Andy, sorry, before you move on, I thought of one thing as I'm looking at this too. If there's dealers that are out there listening to this or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a ton.
Hopefully,
all of them.
Yeah, all of them. Think about your equipment listings, and if you got warranty on, they should tell you that you want to make certain that you're getting those notes included in your equipment listings.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I would suspect that some of them maybe do have warranty, and they're not giving themselves the proper credit for including that information in the listings.
Right. I'm actually glad you brought that up. Hopefully some auctioneers are hearing this too, or we'll make little, video shorts about this and just blast it. But absolutely, if this tells us anything from auction or dealer listings, there is value. Buyers perceive that value. Make sure it is in the listings and well laid out that they can find it and sort it, because you don't want to leave money on the table.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I want clean data, so clean it up. So one of the things, this regression number here of at a zero intercept, so essentially 0 hours where this theoretically would cross the line for without warranty, on average 454,000 versus with warranty 470,000. So approximately, what is that? About like 15 to 20,000 more out of that. So you're saying what, 5 to 6%?
Yeah,
is what you see. So yeah, at the 0 hour here, it's maybe shown a little less, not as strong as the price premium at auction. But, and again, this is probably more research that I have to do. Rough numbers, we're probably sitting at 2 to 2.5%.
Yeah.
Premium that we're seeing on dealer listings for warranty over non-warranty. But that might be an opportunity too, because we're all human. I mean, these are, humans placing numbers on this and the best guess and a wide variance, as we've shown here too, that maybe there's an opportunity to hone that in a little and say, okay, people are truly perceiving this as a 5% or a 6 or a 7% benefit. Again, depending on how much warranty is left over.
Yeah.
But this could be an opportunity and probably a little bit more diving that I need to do in the data.
Right. And, if you were to take a poll of farmers
Mm-hmm.
that were used equipment buyers and say, are you an extended warranty guy? Or do you want extended warranty? I think a lot of them would probably say no.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to actually then making that purchase, they're inherently looking for those units that don't have that risk. They might say, no, I'm not an extended warranty guy. But when it comes down to their actual actions, or they're also saying, well, I'm buying it from the dealer, and so I expect that it should hold up, right?
Right.
And,
Yep.
and you're going to stand behind this, right? And so I think that, I think if we took that poll,
Mhm.
that they might say no, but their actions and their expectations say different.
Right. Mhm.
So,
yeah, and I know from our standpoint too, when you have a particular tractor you're looking at, we're used equipment buyers, that you find the tractor that's maybe not perfect for our operation, but good
Yeah.
and fits well enough. But then what might push us over the edge, and it has before, is does it have those extra things that add value to our farm that maybe weren't in our need list, but they're in our want list, and we'll certainly take them. And again, it's those things that help convince and speed up a sale. Because I want to kind of transition here into what do dealers do in the rest of 25? Because the market is undoubtedly slower. I've heard from a lot of people there's interest though.
Yeah.
And so the phones are ringing. There's not as many deals being done right now. People are still hesitant. They're still a little uncertain. But the interest is there, and there's a great potential to move some used equipment here at the end of 25, giving the 100%, 179, and just potential in the crop.
Yeah.
So tools in the tool belt. Warranty can help.
Yeah.
And there's also some risks out there. We're talking a little bit about there is a risk that other warranty providers might run out of goodwill, right?
well, OEMs.
Okay.
So I think, no surprise to anyone, the OEMs aren't cranking out as much out of their factories, which is good. Let this market
Work through the
normalize,
used, right?
work through the used, but they're tightening their budgets. And what we're hearing from a lot of dealers is that some of their manufacturers have really cut back on any sort of goodwill. I'm not saying all of them, and I think it probably also varies a little bit by territory, but the stuff that maybe people had expected that either the dealer or manufacturer might step in.
Mhm.
When you have a failure 6 months out of warranty, it's not happening.
Mhm.
And the dealers already went backwards on the deal that they did,
Right.
just to get it moved, and so they don't have an appetite to swallow those bills either. And so I think this is it becomes a massively powerful tool then to help, so that transfer that risk really. Nobody has to be stressing over who's eating that bill. There's tools available. So yes,
Okay.
warranty is a massively powerful.
Good. And aside from warranty, just hitting on the other things that we've heard out in the market now, not just warranty related. Talked to some dealers who have done significant repricing, dropped the price on their lots on a select units, not across the board. So then that way they can compare kind of an A/B test. And what we've heard is brings a lot of eyeballs, a lot of calls from across state lines. We've also spoken with dealers recently that made kind of an immediacy of, hey, this price drop is only going to last for a certain amount of time. And so you have 30 days, and then the price that you see now is not going to be there anymore. And so that creates a bit of scarcity, which creates action, and which is essentially what we're losing or we don't have right now in the market. It's like we don't have a reason to take action right now.
Which I think probably works if you go low enough.
Mm-hmm. Right. You have to still hit that price point where it pencils out for them.
Right. Because otherwise they're going to be throwing the bullshit flag. And then it just, you loses all credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But yes, I think, time is money for these dealers right now too, with the interest carrying costs. So yeah, if you just as a dealer can grin and bear it, go to that lowest number and create some urgency. I think have to have something. As a little kid, my dad was a wrestling coach. I was thinking about this the other day. My dad was a wrestling coach, and I think it was like to every little kid wrestler, it just went over your head. But he had this thing, he called it ice. You got to bring your ice every day. And it was intensity, continuity, and enthusiasm. And again, as a 6-year-old wrestler, I don't know, it meant a whole hell of a lot. But it dawned on me the other day, just thinking about that. And I think But that's what we need a lot of right now.
Yeah.
In this equipment marketplace as dealers, easy to get down in the market or with the current market, but man, we just got to keep plowing forward, keep going, keep knocking on doors, find a way to deliver the right value proposition, uncover those objections.
Yep.
Sometimes that is warranty, sometimes something completely different, but I think we need some ice.
Well, not only am I going to borrow ice for not wrestling, but for my youth basketball teams that I'm coaching, 100% going to use that one. But also from the sales aspect too, of the intensity that you bring to a conversation, but also the continuity, like you said. And this is kind of the plug a little bit for Anvil, but the value proposition of being consistent with the calls. Do you have good coverage of your A clients, B clients, C clients intelligently like you want to? And then reaching out to them often enough and providing that value, even if it's just a check-in. But it's easy if you don't have a system that keeps you on track to not have that continuity, to have things fall through the cracks.
Yeah. I was going to save my ice for an article or write something, but I think it's relevant to the conversation that we're having. It's and even for farmers too. I mean, it's easy to want to be tempted to go jump off the bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think those that can push through this, try to maintain that optimism and find a way, will emerge from this thing.
To really hit home all these sports euphemisms we're using right now, my dad would always say you've got to consistently hit singles so then you can be ready to hit the home run when it happens in like 21-2. Like, then you hit the home runs, but then you've got to drop back and hit the singles. Just be consistent.
That's right. And that's what we try to do with our warranty too. It's like we know that we build trust over time. We do that with how we handle every customer that comes our way, with how we handle that claims process, to how we're open, we communicate in that level of transparency. And so right now there's, it's a challenge, but, hitting those singles and continuing to build that funnel on our end. So, let people feel that value proposition, and then they start talking to their neighbors and everyone else. And so we'll keep it in singles. As long as we can get on base, we're doing good.
Yeah, as long as we score that goal, have the takedown singles, just keep those, sports analogies rolling.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, anyways, I didn't mention this earlier, but we are at Dealership Mind Summit.
Yes.
And so I had a good chance to meet a ton of different dealers here and have countless number of conversations, so that's good. I know you've got a session coming up. Is the session covering a little bit what we talked about, or what are you discussing?
Yeah, so the benefit of using the warranty to help improve absorption rates for dealers. If, as a warranty provider, if we're not helping dealers improve absorption rates, we're doing something wrong. And so I think there's a number of key considerations that go into that, but just paying retail on parts, paying retail job times, what you expect to charge a customer is what we'll pay. Prefer not to pay more, but you don't have to expect that we're going to pay less because it's warranty company.
Right.
You don't have participation costs or merchant fees from the no payment, no interest types of programs, because we're going to write you that check for the reimbursement. And so great value proposition for dealers, which translates to great value for the customers too, because this stuff has got to work for everybody.
Right.
And so if a dealer's not excited about working on the equipment that just had a failure because they think it's a crap warranty program, then it takes that much longer for that customer to get his unit back up and running. That's a problem. And so just having a really good program that helps the dealers be profitable becomes a win-win for the dealers and equipment owners. That's what we're going to be talking about.
Good. Well, I know from the session yesterday they're talking about improving absorption. This the three things. And if you know the math, if you know the equation, it makes sense. You got to increase top line revenue. You've got to improve your margins, which is really what you're hitting on. You don't have to leak these other pieces out, lose percentages from your margins. And then obviously the denominator is your expenses.
Absolutely. Yep.
Good. Well, Jake, fantastic having you on here. Whatever this is, if it is Beyond the Hood or whatever webinar, this is pre-recorded. So some of this analysis that I was talking about doing in the future, hopefully I actually, stop traveling and I can get behind a computer and start cranking some of this stuff out. But again, really appreciate you having you on here with us.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to connect with you and the audience. Hopefully there's value for whoever that audience might be.
Good. Well, if you have any questions and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way that they can do that?
Machineryscope.com has got our phone number. You can email us too or whatever. Just Machineryscope.
Okay.
Scope like a gun. .com, and you'll find us.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this recording. If you have any questions about Tractor Zoom Pro, and all that we're doing, you know how to reach out to us. Take care and have a good day.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond the Hood with Tractor Zoom. If you have any questions about value that Machinery Scope is bringing to their customers, you can find that link in our show notes. Also, if you have any questions about how Tractor Zoom and Tractor Zoom Pro and Anvil and all of our platforms are bringing value to our dealers, you can find that in our show notes as well as going to TractorZoomPro.com. Great to have you with us as always. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can get the latest updates and the latest drops of our upcoming podcasts. Take care. See you later.